onomatopoeia. Now consider the following words: zip, boom, slash, slurp, gurgle, mew, woof. And now let us read the following nursery rhyme. Bow wow, said the dog. Mew mew, said the cat. Grunt grunt, go the hog. And squeak, go the rat. To-woo, said the owl. Quack quack, said the duck. And what the cuckoo says, you know. So, onomatopoeia is a combination of speech sounds which aims at imitating sounds produced in nature, such as wind, sea, thunder, etc., by things, machines, or tools, by people, singing, laughter, and animals. There are two varieties of onomatopoeia, direct and indirect. Direct onomatopoeia is contained in words that imitate natural sounds, as ding-dong, burr, bang, cuckoo. These words have different degrees of imitative quality. Some of them immediately bring to mind whatever it is that produces the sound. Others require the exercise of a certain amount of imagination to decipher it. Onomatopoeic words can be used in a transferred meaning, as for instance ding-dong, which represent the sound of bells rung continuously, and may mean noisy and strenuously contested. Indirect onomatopoeia demands some mention of what makes the sound, as rustling of curtains in the following line, and the silken, sad, uncertain rustling of each purple curtain. The repetition of the sound s actually produces the sound of the rustling of the curtain. Indirect onomatopoeia is a combination of sounds, the aim of which is to make the sound of the utterance an echo of its sense. It is sometimes called echo writing. Alliteration. Alliteration is a phonetic stylistic device which aims at imparting a melodic effect to the utterance. The essence of this device lies in the repetition of similar sounds, in particular consonant sounds, in close succession, particularly at the beginning of successive words. Like most phonetic expressive means, it does not bear any lexical or other meaning. It is generally regarded as a musical accompaniment of the author's idea, supporting it with some emotional atmosphere, which each reader interprets for himself. Doubting, dreaming dreams no mortal ever dared to dream before. That the repetition of the sound d in the lines quoted from Edgar Allan Poe's poem The Raven prompts a feeling of anxiety, fear, horror, anguish, or all these feelings simultaneously. The same can be said about the lines quoted from Joseph Conrad's Lagoon. Somber and dull, stood motionless and silent on each side of the broad stream. Sunset put out by the swift and stealthy shadows, but her big eyes, wide open, glittered in the gloom. Alliteration in the English language is deeply rooted in the traditions of English folklore. The laws of phonetic arrangement in Anglo-Saxon poetry differed greatly from those of present-day English poetry. In Old English poetry, alliteration was one of the basic principles of verse and considered, along with rhythm, to be its main characteristic. It is frequently used as a well-tested means not only in verse but in emotive prose, in newspaper headlines, in the titles of books, in proverbs and sayings, as for example in the following: blind as a bat, to rob Peter, to pay Paul, etc. Rhyme is a repetition of identical or similar terminal sound combination of words. Rhyming words are generally placed at a regular distance from each other. In verse, they are usually placed at the end of the corresponding lines. For example, sight and flight, gain and gain, madness and sadness. They are called perfect rhymes. Punning rhymes such as bear and bear, are also identical rhymes. The rhyme may of course extend even further to the left than the last stressed vowel if it extends all the way to the beginning of the line, so that we have two lines that sound identical. Then it is called hollow rhyme. For ice cream, for ice cream. The most general definition of rhythm may be expressed as follows. Rhythm is a flow, movement, procedure, etc., characterized by basically regular recurrence of elements or features as beat or accent in alternation with opposite or different elements of features, says Webster's New World Dictionary. It is a mighty weapon in stirring up emotions, whatever its nature or origin, whether it is musical, mechanical, or symmetrical as in architecture. Rhythm is a periodicity which requires specification as to the type of periodicity. Inverse rhythm is regular succession of weak and strong stress. A rhythm in language necessarily demands oppositions that alternate: long, short, stressed, unstressed, high, low, and other contrasting segments of speech. Rhythm is not a mere addition to verse or emotive prose, which also has its rhythm. Rhythm intensifies the emotions. It contributes to the general sense. Much has been said and written about rhythm in prose. Some investigators, in attempting to find rhythmical patterns of prose, superimpose metrical measures on prose, but the parameters of the rhythm in verse and in prose are, of course, entirely different. And now about lexical expressive means and stylistic devices. Words in a context may acquire additional lexical meanings not fixed in the dictionaries, what are called contextual meanings. The latter may sometimes deviate from the dictionary meaning to such a degree that the new meaning even becomes the opposite of the primary meaning. What is known in linguistics as transferred meaning is practically the interrelation between two types of lexical meaning, dictionary and contextual. Lexical stylistic device is such type of denoting phenomena that serves to create additional expressive, evaluative, subjective connotations. In fact, we deal with the intended substitution results in a stylistic device, which is also called a trope. Lexical expressive meanings in which a word or word combination is used figuratively are called tropes. The majority of linguists agree that a word is the smallest unit, being able to create images because it conveys the artistic reality and image. On this level, the creation of images is a result of the interaction of two meanings: direct, denotation, and indirect, figurative. Galperin suggests the following classification of lexical stylistic devices. He singles out three groups: the interaction of different types of lexical meaning, dictionary and contextual, metaphor, metonymy, irony, primary and derivative, epithet, oxymoron, logical and nominative, antonomasia, intensification of a feature, simile, hyperbole, periphrases, and peculiar use of set expressions such as cliches, proverbs, and quotations.